Hello, and happy marvelous Monday, everybody. I hope that you are well. I have had pleasure to come and share again for our final Monday, just talking about domestic violence and what that looks like. And so today I'm going to continue the conversation. For the month of October, it's been Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So I've shared tips for landlords as well as tenants. And so today I'm just going to go over uh, 7 things that landlords should never say to tenants who are survivors of domestic violence. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Karissa Spann. I'm your host. I'm the landlord and tenant coach, and I am super excited to share today on this topic, this discussion. I've had the pleasure of having a special guest over the past few weeks. And so today I just want to have a conversation and share some tips. This is what I do each and every Monday. At 7:30 p.m., I share information to help landlords, tenants, as well as the rental community. And certainly, if you have questions, if you have comments, go ahead and throw it in the comment box, and I will respond to them. I promise that the information that I share today, it's only to give industry tips, best practices, but I am not giving legal advice. All right. So I promise I won't hold you long, but I will hold you long enough to share this information on today. And again, we are talking about domestic violence and 7 things that landlords should never say to tenants who are survivors of domestic violence. And so this was a topic that was near and dear to me because I've shared early on how I am also a survivor of domestic violence. And sometimes really people are not really comfortable talking about it. I've been in the industry in property management and real estate for almost 3 decades, so that's almost 30 years. And there's really not too much that escapes me or surprises me. And for many of you who have been following me and watching, you already treat your business like a business. It will pay you like a business. If you treat it like a hobby, it will pay you like a hobby. But I also believe in including the heart, right? So although it's a business, as a housing provider or as a landlord, we should still have a heart for the people who are relying on us or who are renting our rental property. All right. And so I just wanted to be clear to say that because I know that some people have they emailed me. I've received a few calls because my philosophy is clear, but I'm still saying yes, although it is a business, we should still have a heart for the people who are renting from us. Okay. The role of a property manager is so much more than collective money at the beginning of the month, right? Um, Although it's a business, again, I still believe in having that human side of what we do because being a whether you're a real estate investor, you're a property manager, you're a landlord, you're an owner, real estate sales broker, salesperson, it doesn't even really matter in what capacity you're serving. It's still customer service, right? And so we don't want to remove the human aspect out of what we do as housing providers. And I say we because I am also a housing provider. As I stated, I've been in the industry for almost 30 years. So working in various roles and in many capacities, whether I was a real estate agent, a property manager educator, a housing inspector, I've done so much. But I've come to love what I do. I really enjoy making a difference in the life of tenants and people who are relying on me. And so today I am going to share 7 things that landlords should never ever say to tenants who are survivors of domestic violence. And I know that sometimes, especially those of us who really do care about our tenants, right? We have relationships with many of our tenants. We check in on our tenants. We send newsletters. I know that for many of you, your tenants have your cell phone number and they can reach you, right? Um, and it's okay to check in. It's okay to see how the family is doing. So, for instance, here's one of the things that I do. I'll check in on my tenants and just to see how things are going. So we're like today is Halloween, right? I sent a text out earlier, just reminding my residents to be careful if they're going out trick or treating. That's not something I subscribe to, but I know that a lot of my families are doing it, and so I just share information and say, hey, listen, if you're going out, please be careful. It may be raining in your area. So just that human approach, and that really, really makes a huge difference. Sometimes people legit and honestly want to know that they have somebody who cares about them. And I know that that may not be possible when you're managing multiple properties, and especially if you're like me, you have multiple properties or entities in multiple jurisdictions. But where it is possible, or maybe you have maybe a single family home that you're renting out, right? It is okay to manage that landlord and tenant relationship in a way that causes that tenant to understand and know that that landlord really, really cares about them. It is nothing more rewarding than to hear the feedback from my residents and say, Karissa, I appreciate you calling. I really appreciate you checking on me. There's this one tenant, and I don't do this with everybody. I haven't done it in a while, but I have one tenant in particular, and she's been in the rental property for a really long time, and she would call me to come over so she could talk, and I would, just listen to her because sometimes people just want to know that they have somebody who will listen to them. And so I've gone over to the resident's house, to the tenant's house rather, and I would just listen to, some of her struggles. And then, it really touched me because at the end she said, Carissa, can you pray for me? And, that was really, really touching for me. And so anyway, I'll get off this subject because I get a little teary eyed when it comes to this young lady because I do know her struggle. She's a former addict and she got herself some help. She went to rehab. She turned her life around. She came back to tell me how my encouragement, how my inspiration, how my hugs, how my prayers have helped her. And for me, it's not about the money, right? Because in property management, just depending on your level, you may make a lot, you may make a little, but at the end of the day, it's what is so rewarding to me, knowing that I've done a good service for my tenants who are relying on me. All right, so anyway, today we are talking about 7 things that landlords should never say to tenants who are victims of domestic violence. Please let me know where you're tuned in from in the chat box, in the comment box. Let me know if you're watching, what jurisdiction are you in. If you're in the DC metropolitan area, if you're in South Carolina, I know that I have viewers along the East Coast. I have viewers who are also watching internationally. But please let me know where you're watching from. If this is your first time, show me some love in the comment section. Say, hey, girl, hey, let me know that you are here. So let me pull up tips that I do want to share today. And again, this is what I do each and every Monday at 7:30 p.m. I share information to help landlords, tenants, and the entire rental community. I want to thank you, those of you who are watching by way of Facebook, by way of not Instagram, LinkedIn, as well as YouTube. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please head on over to the YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button so that you'll be the first to know when I am live and online. Where I am, we are going through a bad storm, so it's really raining. I do apologize if we have some technical difficulties, but it is really, really pouring down where I am. I hope that you are well. I hope that you had a phenomenal weekend. I hope that your week has started out great. Let me acknowledge some people who are here today. Okay, so I see your comment. Thank you for that. Hello, Miss Davis. You're on YouTube. Thank you so much. Miss Davis, can you hear me okay on YouTube? I'm not sure why my screen is a little choppy on YouTube. Miss Davis, can you hear me okay on YouTube? Okay, thank you for that. All right, so let me pull up my tips that I want to share today. And if you are a landlord, I do want you to take note of this. All right, thank you. You said you can hear okay. Thank you so much for that. If you're a landlord, please take note of the information, the tips that I'm sharing today, landlords helping tenants. Let me help you to help your tenant, to help the entire rental community. That's what this is about. I promise we can do it better together. Um, so here is some information that I want to share as we are talking about domestic violence. Domestic violence is something that, like I said, a lot of people are not really comfortable talking about. And sometimes, as a housing professional, as a housing provider, you may have a situation where a tenant is in some sort of domestic altercation. Sometimes it can be really, really bad. Usually it's violent, but then sometimes it can trickle over into the rental property where holes are punched in the wall, or windows are broken, or doors are broken, or there may be other extensive um, damages done to the rental property. And so there is a way to handle that. And so that's what I'm going to touch on today, but more on what to say and what not to say to tenants and residents. And I'm going to give information from landlords who, if you've never had a tenant who experienced domestic violence, um, kudos to you. But still share this information. Hold on to the information because you never know when you may need it. It's better to have this information versus needing it and not having it. All right. So I just wanted to share that. So here are my tips I want to share with you. Let me bring them up on the screen. Um, I do want you to know that when it comes to domestic violence, October every year is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. This started up in 1987, and it essentially was a way to bring awareness to landlords, the communities about domestic violence and the issues that are happening in rental property. If you would take down this information, take this number, please share it with your tenants, or please just hold on to it later. Here is the number for the National Domestic Violence Hotline number anywhere in the United States. Um, People can call this number. It doesn't have to be a tenant. It doesn't have to be a landlord. It could be maybe a concerned citizen or neighbor. It could be a concerned loved one or friend. Please hold on to this information and share it. Write it down, keep it, store it. If you're a landlord, understand that it is really in your advantage when you are leasing tenants up to maybe include this information in your lease up package. And some of you may be asking, well, Karissa, what is the lease up package? And I'm glad that you asked. So, Ms. Davis, I know that you've heard me say this before, but when it comes to leasing up tenants, then if you know that my lease is at least 61 pages long, no exaggeration, but here's why. I share information. So in my lease package, there's information on domestic violence. There's information that helps tenants to live in the rental community, knowing how to protect themselves, knowing how to manage their home or the rental property. It doesn't matter if it's a house or an apartment or a condo. It doesn't matter if it's in the city, if it's in the country. It doesn't matter. But I share information because I want all of my tenants to be informed. So please consider adding this to your lease package if you are a landlord, because it will be extremely helpful. Here is a number that tenants or anybody could text. If they don't want to pick up the phone to call, they can text this number, and this is also to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Someone will respond by way of text. So just type SMART, SMART, to that number, 88788 to get help. All right. So here's the first tip. And I want to share this information because I know that for a lot of landlords who do have that good or strong landlord and tenant relationship that I talked about, sometimes it's easy to talk to the tenants, right? But when you're talking to the tenants, you don't want to be impersonal. You don't want to seem insensitive. And so here is one of the biggest mistakes that people make. As a landlord, I've had someone who actually came on the show and they shared how this is something that they asked their tenants. Why they didn't do it the first time it happened. And although that may be a serious concern, maybe you are concerned about your tenant, and maybe it would help you to understand why the tenant didn't leave the first time it happened. Or here's the thing: sometimes in these type of situations, tenants might feel afraid, they might feel frightened, they might feel alone, and in many cases, and I know for some this may not make sense, they may feel like their life is in danger. And sometimes the tenants don't report the abuser because they're fearful that the next situation could be worse. Um, I was saddened to learn that one of my previous tenants managed, I'm sorry, a property that I managed years ago. I believe in that property was like 278 units in that community. So anyway, this one young lady, um, we became really close because she started out as a problem tenant, but I understood that she had some struggles and some challenges, and so I committed to work with her. She would always come to the office. She would just sit there and talk to me. So anyway, I learned just today that she died. Someone, well, her child's father stabbed her, and she did not make it. And it's unfortunate when these type of things happen in the rental community. It's something that landlords don't ever expect to happen, especially if it's happening in the apartment or the rental home, whether it's a house or whatever the property type is. Landlords never expect to find tenants in the rental property deceased because of domestic violence or for anything, right? But I was really saddened to hear to learn that this young lady has lost her life to her child's father. But here's the first tip. Like I said, you don't want to ask individuals why did they leave the first time it happened. You just want to be a listener. You want to show care. You want to show concern as a landlord. Share the number that I've just shared with you to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Let them know that there are resources available if they are comfortable or if they want to talk. Here's the second thing. Landlords, please take a note of this. Please don't ask your tenant, did you do something to cause it to happen, right? Again, this is impersonal. It's coming off as insensitive. I know some of us who are a little more seasoned, those of us who are considered or looked at, and those who are older, right? Those who I respect as my elder, being someone old enough to be my mother, sometimes um, when you care to come off as being that mother figure. But even in that capacity, please don't ask individuals this question because they're already dealing with the situation. Maybe they are embarrassed. Maybe they are ashamed. Maybe they're upset that it actually happened. And so sometimes we can ask these questions and they can come off as a trigger, which can make that situation worse than what it actually is. Here's something else that as a landlord you don't want to ask. You don't want to say, you aren't protecting your kids if you stay. Now, is this a true statement? Perhaps. Perhaps it's easier for those of us who are looking from the outside in to say, you know what, you and your kids should get away from this situation. You should get away from your abuser. It makes sense, right? But for them, it may not make sense. Remember, I just shared how my previous tenant, she lost her life. Her child's father stabbed her. A domestic violence situation. She had a stay away order. The father refused to stay away. Something happened. The young lady moved on. She started dating someone else. And um, the child's father was jealous, was possessive, and he ended up stabbing her, right? And so sometimes people are afraid to really walk away. And although she had a stay away order, she had a protection order against the child's father, she still would allow the father to come over because he threatened to not to just take her life, but her child's life as well. And so sometimes, like I said, it may not make sense to us, right? But we still want to have a heart for individuals who are dealing with these matters. Here's something else we don't want to ask as a landlord. If we have a tenant who is in this type of situation, what kind of parent are you if you keep exposing your kids to that behavior? This speaks to the character of them being a parent on top of them already facing this uncomfortable situation that they're in, right? We don't want to add fuel to that fire. Here's something else. Why don't you go to the police for help if you really want help? Sometimes, and I've had tenants who were in these situations. The boy I shared a few weeks ago how one of my tenants, her boyfriend busted out all her windows. We had to eat the cost to replace the windows. He went back and bust additional windows after we replaced windows. And this tenant refused to call the police. And yet she complained about the situation that was happening. Again, it may make sense to us to ask these questions, but again, we don't want to seem insensitive. We can also let them know that we are concerned, we are here to help, we want to provide resources for families and tenants who are going through this. But these are the type of questions, these are the comments that we never want to say. And I know if you've been in the industry for a while, if you have tenants who keep going through, and here's the thing, some tenants will go through these type of situations over and over and over again, right? But here's what we don't want to say. It can't be that bad if you keep going back. Sometimes people are, one of my daughters, she used to tell me a long time ago, she says, Mom, you're just a sucker for love. And that was a true statement, right? I love love. I'm just like this ball of energy, and I love love. But when it comes to abuse, love is not abusive. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not seek to harm, right? But some people may not understand that. But this is something that we don't want to say, right? And here's another thing. If you're not going to do something, I will. As a landlord, please don't say this to tenants. They may take that as a threat, right? They may need you to be a sounding board. They may need to vent. And the one thing that we don't want to do is to come off as if we are punishing them for being a victim of domestic violence. And yes, it is our responsibility to do something, especially when there is damage in the rental property. So if there's some sort of domestic violence going on in the rental property, but there is no damage, I'm not sure how much we can do because we can't force people to want help. We cannot force people to escape. We cannot force people to call the police, right? And I know that landlords don't really like to hear that they're responsible for paying for damage in a rental property because of anything, let alone, domestic violence. And so I wanted to share those tips. So Ms. Davis, let me go to the question you said. We assume the abuser is on the lease. So how does the landlord handle this situation? Is there a stay away order against the abuser? All right, that's a great question. So sometimes Ms. Davis, the abuser could be on the lease. And if that's the case, if you are aware of the situation, one of the things that I've done was I've called the police, and the police had to come out and allow law enforcement to handle that situation. So the abuser is on the lease, the survivor is also on the lease. The police department ultimately will determine who is supposed to stay away from the rental property. So if there's a stay away order in place, that's because the police have gotten involved, has documented the incident, and the outcome is somebody has to leave. I would just say, if that's the case for Davis, that's a really great question. Thank you so much. If that's the case, I would submit to whatever that court order, that temporary stay away order is. So if the user has to stay away, if the survivor has to stay away, and sometimes that happens, right? You can't go against whatever the law will. Some of you may know of others. We have tenants who are facing domestic violence, or maybe you know someone um, who is a victim of domestic violence. Please share this information. I'll put the number back up on the screen because I want people to understand that there are resources available. There is help available in the rental community. I know that this is not a hot topic. People don't like to discuss this. People don't like to talk about it. Sometimes people don't even like to hear it because it's just that touchy a subject. So here's the number for the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Please take this number down, write it down, include it in your lease-up package if you are allowing new tenants to move into your rental property. In the event they may need this information somewhere down the road. It may not be needed today. It may be needed tomorrow, or next week, or next month, or next year. Whenever, here's the information. Please share it with your tenants. And again, that's for the National Domestic Violence Hotline. This number here. This is also to get help. Just text this number, 88788. You want to text the word SMART to that number, and someone will respond from the National Domestic Violence Hotline. That is a nationwide number. It is not specifically for females or males. It's not just for men or women, because here's the thing. In many cases, the survivor, the victim may be a female, but then there are cases where males are victims of domestic violence, where the female is the abuser. It could be woman to woman, it could be man to man. Domestic violence does not have a face, it doesn't have a gender, it's, attached to it. It doesn't, really matter if the tenant or the individual is highly educated, undereducated, rich or poor, big or small. It doesn't really matter. Things happen to people. Life happens to any of us. And I promise that we will not escape life alive. But we certainly don't want to lose our lives. We don't want tenants to lose their lives because of domestic violence. So those are the tips that I wanted to share today. I do hope that this was helpful. This is what I do each and every Monday at 7:30. I share information to help landlords as well as tenants, because ultimately it improves and it significantly impacts the rental community. I'm so excited. I just want to say thank you for those of you who have already signed up for my landlord class. And if you know that I'm a landlord and tenant coach. I am an educator. I teach property management. I work with landlords, just helping landlords understand how to put systems in place. And at the end of the day, if I can share anything that can help somebody, my mission has been accomplished. I do appreciate you for showing up. Thank you for tuning in week after week. If you receive an email from me, please continue to follow me. If there's a subject matter that you would like me to cover, please email me. Let me know what jurisdiction you are tuned in from, because I want to share information that's applicable and relevant to that area. Because here's the thing, laws are not the same in all areas. So from one state, from one city to the next, the laws might be slightly different. So it's always helpful. You always hear me ask where you tune in from, because I want to know that, and that's why I asked that question. Hello, Reverend Motley. Thank you so much for tuning in, Dad. I love and appreciate you, sir. So guys, listen, my time is up. I thank you for yours. Please share this information. Please share these tips, because you never know how it can impact somebody's life, to change somebody's life for the greater. All right. Please make sure that you are tuning in every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Please also subscribe to my YouTube channel. On YouTube, you can find me, Landlord Lyfe with Karissa. Landlord Lyfe with Karissa Spann. So please find me on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I will be back next Monday